Hey, so in this video, I want to show you why Sauce Labs is great and why you need it and the advantages that it has. But before I tell you why you need Sauce Labs and why you should use the product, I need to explain you a little bit about how it works. That will help you to understand all of its advantages and disadvantages. The way Sauce Labs works is you're gonna have your source code. So this will be our source code file, our CS files, right? And so our source code files will be executed by what's known as a Selenium Hub. So this will be a hub. This is basically a server that takes the source code and decides where an automated test will be executed. And what I mean by that is a hub can have multiple different nodes. So for example, it may have a node that goes out to here, and a node will be this will be a virtual machine. It could be a virtual machine, or now with the invention of Docker, it could be containers, or it could be a local machine. But that will be problematic, as you'll see in the future. So let's call it a virtual machine right now until you guys learn how to use Docker. So virtual machine, and this virtual machine can be configured to run on a browser, which will be our browser, will be Firefox. And then the operating system can be, let's say, Windows. We could have another node. Again, this is another VM that can be configured to run on, say, Safari, and then the OS can be Mac. And you can have many different nodes like this. These are all nodes. You can have many different nodes, and so your tests can be getting passed to the hub, and the hub will determine on which node the test should run. You actually you can specify that in your file. You can do something like use something like an app.config, or you can use something like a configuration file for the hub. I believe it's a JSON format that you can use to configure the hub. And so, or you can even do it in the source code itself. This is all for configuration. Nodes. And so you can do all of that through these configuration files, and then the hub will determine where you want the automated test to run. So that is how a Selenium grid works. The problem with this is that first, you, the automation engineer, are the one that has to maintain it. So what that means is that you have to maintain the hub, and you have to maintain all of the nodes. So that brings problems of maintenance. You're gonna have to maintain the operating system. You're gonna have to do patching. You're gonna have to update the virus software. You're gonna have to update browsers, and you're gonna have to do all of that if you're gonna maintain your own nodes. However, with Sauce Labs, they make it much easier, because Sauce Labs, what they would do is basically Sauce Labs would replace your hub. This will be a Sauce Labs hub, which lives in the cloud. And so rather than you pointing at your own hub, you're gonna run in a Sauce Labs hub, and then they're gonna maintain all of the VMs for you. Here, they're gonna have they have hundreds of possible node combinations, which are all gonna be different kinds of virtual machines that you can run on, that get spun up real time, live, for every single test execution that you want. And so with that said, you can see that there are multiple advantages of Sauce Labs. First, they're going to drastically decrease your maintenance time. Because you don't have to maintain your own Selenium grid, this will be reduced by a lot. You'll probably be saving 50% of your time on maintenance. If you have a very good Selenium grid, you're probably spending all of your time maintaining that Selenium grid. It can actually be a full-time job to maintain that Selenium grid. And so at the end of the day, what do you want to do? Do you want to be automating functional tests or automating any kind of tests, or maintaining a Selenium grid? What is your job really at the end of the day? I would argue that it's the former. So with all of that, there's another advantage, is that they provide you cross-browser testing capability. You can do cross-browser automation. Doing the cross-browser automation is amazing because they have hundreds of virtual machines that are configured. You can run in Android, you can run in Linux, you can run on Mac, you can run on tablets, you can run on mobile emulators, you can even run on the real mobile devices. So there are hundreds, if not thousands, of combinations of all the nodes that you can run on. There's no way that you will ever be able to set up your own Selenium grid to handle all of that, not without a giant team. Also with that, automatically, whenever you get your Sauce Labs license, you'll get cross-browser manual testing. It's just an extra bonus that I just wanted to mention, because what it basically allows you to do is pull up your application in any kind of configuration that you want to see. Instead of running an automated test, all you have to do is pull up your browser and your browser operating system combination, and you can view your website on that OS combination, and that will allow you to, do cross-browser manual testing, see how that looks. There's another fourth benefit that's hidden from all of this, is that Sauce Labs helps to make debugging way easier. How does it do that? Well, it's actually pretty fantastic. Whenever you're going to run your automated test that's going to go to the Sauce Labs hub, right? It's going to run through the remote driver. Sauce Labs provides you automatic screenshots, they provide you automatic videos, and they provide you automatic logs. I'll show you that later, as you'll see, but it's fantastic because the automatic videos themselves are already a phenomenal way to debug your automated testing sessions. You don't have to do anything, literally nothing. You don't have to change your source code at all. All you do is just run your tests, and you'll get all of that out of the box. And the final advantage that I wanted to talk about of Sauce Labs was that it decreases the amount of time to run your full suite of tests. Well, and so how does it do that? Well, Sauce Labs, honestly, any Selenium grid can do that, but Sauce Labs can do it as well. It allows you to run tests in parallel. So rather than running one test at a time, what you can do is have multiple tests feeding in here into the hub at the same time. And then those multiple tests can all run on multiple browsers and operating systems at the same time. You purchase based on parallelization ability. The license costs based on parallelization. That's how it costs. So if you want to run on 2 VMs, that's cheaper than running on 5 VMs at the same time. But imagine that if you have 5 VMs that you can run on at the same time, that's that much faster that you can execute your automated test, right? If you have, for example, let's say 10 tests, and each one takes approximately 1 minute to run. If you're running those sequentially, that's going to be a total of 10 minutes, right? Which is 10 minutes is an excellent time to run tests. We have thousands of tests. So thousands of minutes for test execution, not acceptable at all. Shouldn't be acceptable for you either, because that's way too long of a feedback loop. However, if you have 10 tests that can run on, let's say, 5 VMs, that means you can run 5 tests at a time at 1 minute, your total test time. So it's going to be 2 minutes, because you're going to have 10 tests running on 5 VMs, 2 iterations that you're going to need to do, and it's going to take 2 minutes long. It actually will take longer than that. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio. I'll talk about that in a little bit, which actually brings me to my disadvantages of Sauce Labs. As with everything, there are disadvantages, unfortunately.